All eyes on the Cleveland Browns rookie receivers. Not one, but two early round receivers head to Cleveland. KC Concepcion is one. And then our guest, second round receiver from the University of Washington, Denzel Boston, is the other. And of course, our guest on the Insiders, joining me, Ian Rapoport. Denzel, thank you very much for hanging out with us on the Insiders. You have had a couple weeks now in Cleveland after the whirlwind of the draft. You have had OTAs already. Give us your initial impressions of Cleveland, of OTAs, and what you think of the team.
Yeah, I think my initial impressions, I would say, is definitely, the city is live. The fans are live. The fans, they're here to support. A couple of us guys were just at the theme park, and, it was countless pictures, countless love from all the fans. So that was a great first impression. When it comes to, just being a Brown and how the team's going, I think we're in a great spot, working every day, working really hard, just do something great this year.
Todd Monken, your coach, mentioned last week about the learning curve for rookies. What's been the biggest part of that for you so far?
Yeah, I think the biggest learning curve is, the playbook. The playbook's very sophisticated. You got a whole bunch of motions and movements. So I think, just once you be able to get that down, you can actually play free and, you can go out there, have fun. But I think that's the biggest learning curve when it comes to, this next step.
Hang on a sec. I want to go back to what you mentioned before. You mentioned a theme park. Did you guys have like a kind of team building thing? Tell us a little about what that was.
Yeah, so just me and a couple of the guys, we were like, let's go to Cedar Point. It's supposed to be a top 5 theme park in the U.S. They got like the number 2 ride in the world. So we was like, let's go check it out. Let's go hop on those rides. And, we ended up just seeing a whole bunch of Cleveland fans. And it was a great energy, great vibes the whole time. It was a great time.
Like roller coasters, theme park, that kind of thing?
Yeah, roller coasters. Yeah, roller coasters.
All right. I want to ask you about what kind of advice have you gotten about adjusting to the NFL? Because you played in college with a bunch of guys who have been in the NFL now for a few years, Rome Odunze among them. What did they tell you about getting ready for the NFL?
Yeah, they just said show up and be ready to work. Understand that, someone's coming for your job every single day. It's a production business, and you got to make sure you know your alignments and your assignments. Without that, you don't really have much success in this next level. So, and, he also, another thing was, play your size. Don't try to mimic someone that's not like you type of game. So just play your size, know your alignments and assignments, and, just show up to work every day ready to make plays.
So in Cleveland, you guys have a quarterback question, obviously the quarterback competition. You have Deshaun Watson, you have Shedeur Sanders. This is going to be a big storyline for all of us, and I imagine for all of you, this summer and into training camp. What have you seen from some of the quarterbacks, and how much have you sort of been paying attention to, like, all right, this rep is with this guy, this rep is with another guy?
Right, I'm not really paying attention to what reps are with who. I just go out there and just try to produce for whoever's throwing me the ball. I think Dylan, I think Shedeur, and I also think, Deshaun Watson have all put on a great showing so far in OTAs. That decision has nothing to do with me. I just go out there and ball and make plays for them.
How does it affect you, though, when they're splitting reps, sort of evenly among the quarterbacks? Because obviously every quarterback throws the ball a little bit differently. So when you're trying to acclimate, how does it affect a wide receiver?
Yeah, for me, I played with my whole life since high school. I haven't really had a stable quarterback. So I'm used to having different quarterbacks thrown to me each and every year. So, it doesn't affect me too much. But I say one thing, like just different ball spins, different touches on the ball can be a difference maker. But, I think they're all doing great.
It's kind of a cool thing when you look at the way the draft class has looked. You got KC Concepcion, 2 young, really promising receivers. And, we've seen it over the last couple of years throughout the course of the league. Get 2 players closely drafted. They can bond. They can learn from each other. They kind of become a thing. What has your relationship with KC been, and what do you think of him as a sort of fellow rookie receiver?
Yeah, our relationship is now gone to a brother kind of thing. We only call each other brother around the facility. When we see each other, we're always hanging out outside the facility, just trying to do something to make sure that we're building that bond with each other, constantly being around each other, learning from each other, pushing each other each and every day. And, from when it comes to a receiver standpoint, I just think, when you have that mesh and you have that, what am I looking for? Whatever. When you have that friendship, that bond, like it brings fun to the field and it allows you guys to just both go out there, have fun, make plays and make plays off of each other. Whether that's, he goes and makes a big play, then I know, okay, I'm about to go make a big play now because, we're matching each other's energy all the time.
You are a big receiver. You're 6'4", so you're expected to be the contested catch guy. And you said you were given advice like play to your size. But what parts of your game are you trying to work on this summer?
Oh yeah, working on just basically. I'm a rookie. I got a lot to work on. Work on my releases, working on snapping down my hips, getting out my routes faster. Always can work on the hands all the time. And I think also just working on again, playbook, knowing that playbook at the back of my hand, just being able to play every position, move around the field. I think that's one of the biggest things in this next level.
Looking forward to see it all on the field. Denzel Boston, part of a really good young core in Cleveland. Cannot wait to see how it all plays out in 2026 and beyond. Denzel, thank you very much for joining us on the Insiders, and good luck the rest of the offseason into the season.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. You guys have a great rest of your day.
You too.